Yes! We're live! I don't think anyone's here yet. Alright. I think everyone's being told that we're live right now. We're live. This is my first one. Super cool. Danny, you're the first guy in. Congress guy, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Wizard. Yes, J. Dean. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy that you're here. Yeah, man, this is going to be crazy. Oh, man, 12 people just joined. Aaron just showed up. Anson Chen. People from around the world. This is crazy. Monster, what's up? Colin, my local buddy, how you doing? Diesel on the other side of Canada. Social playing cards. This is crazy, man. This is amazing. I am so happy to be here. I'm thrilled that you guys are here. We got a lot to talk about today. You know what? I think we should wait a little bit till everyone gets in here. I see the love. Thank you so much, guys. I see the love. 4 more people just joined. Watt, Griffin, the Cardin. Cardin, aren't you supposed to be doing something right now? Victor Pineapple, how you guys doing? How you guys doing? Do me a favor. Adam Wilbur's in the house. Corey's in the house. Man, this is I don't know. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. This is incredible. Wow, from Hong Kong. All right, do me a favor, everyone, right now. Just type in where are you? Tell us where you're from. Let's see. I think we're going to get everyone from around the world here. This is super awesome. Chris is in the house. Tom's in the house. Bayou Playing Cards. What's up? Lin Lee from China. This can't be real. Oh my God. Seriously, this is awesome. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. The Kramer, Netherlands. Come on, guys. Start listing off where you are. Indianapolis, Ohio. Just keep it going. Keep it going. Yeah, this is amazing. This is amazing. We're just waiting for some people to get in. It's a tradition, of course, Cardin. It's a tradition. New Hampshire is in the building. Yes, the Danforth. SoCal, Chicago, Michigan. I'm blown away, guys. The frozen wasteland of Saskatchewan. Yeah. Shenzhen. This is I'm blown away. I'm blown away. The worldwide love here. New York. Tony just joined. Jordan. Yes. We have a lot to talk about today, guys. You know, we're going to talk about playing cards. We talk about cardistry, magic, life. You know, I have to be honest with you. I was a little nervous. About this because this is my first one, right? And I don't know what you guys are expecting. So I think what the best thing to do is just have a real conversation and see where it leads. And my plan is to kind of share stories I've never shared anywhere else, or tell you things that that I didn't think was important, but I think you guys would get a kick out of. So just keep talking. We're going to wait a few more minutes. I think that people are still coming in. Yen Mac is in the house. Shouldn't you be at work? Yes. This is awesome. I'm blown away, guys. I've never seen anything like this. Nicholas, Paul Knucky. Oh my God. This is incredible. People coming out of the woodwork. This is too much. Unbelievable. Magic Nomadic, how you doing? DJ MC. This is awesome, guys. This is pretty awesome. A bunch of you are sending me video requests to be live with me, and I think that's incredible. And we'll do that at some point, just not probably today, because this is my first one, and I don't want to press any buttons that are going to end anything. And again, we have so much to talk about that I don't want to blow it. Okay, so we're getting questions coming in fast and furious, and it's hard to keep up. So, oh my God, Jason Lieb. It's seriously, we got France in the house, Matt 3101, Global Magicians, incredible, absolutely incredible. All right, so this was the plan. Is that we're just going to start talking about, like I say, about magic, playing cards, cardistry, and life, and I think it will just naturally weave itself in and out of different situations where I'll just start telling you stuff, and if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, cool. Let me know though. And you know what we should do? Aaron Fisher over at the Conjure community. I don't know if he's here or not. Magic Lou, everyone's in the house. Oh my God. My turn for real is in the house. Michael, unbelievable. This is incredible, man. Richie Flo has joined us. Seriously, the love, I'm speechless, guys. I'm speechless. So real quick, going back to Aaron Fisher and the Conjure community, they do something really cool. Obviously, I can't hear you. You can hear me and see me, but I can't really hear you. So if you want to applaud or think that's something awesome or whatever, throw your ones in the air. Just put number 1 on there. Just punch a bunch of ones. Put the hearts. Wave. Do anything. But just let me know. Just let me know, because I am literally by myself in this room. And but that's cool. I do feel the worldwide love. Seriously. Okay, wait. Michael's saying that he's got my signature for when he saw me lecture when you were 11, 12 at the Apple. You're making me cry, bro. Like, this is awesome. I'm so, the coolest thing about Instagram for me so far is being able to connect with everyone. Old friends, new friends, people that I'd never met before. It's spectacular. And then there's all this other stuff too, right? Like, I'm getting so inspired by watching some of these guys. Like, I'm blown away, man. I'm blown away. And I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so happy to participate. And I'm thrilled that you guys are here along with me, right? You're sitting in my passenger seat, and I'm driving. And so, every once in a while, let me know where you think we should go. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Oh, Lonnie Dillon is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, seriously, this is like the reunion I've always wanted. This is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Mike, thank you. Thank you. Shouts out to the most durable deck in the world, the 605s. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Cranzilla is in the house. Seriously, this is super cool. Super, super cool. All right, so let's, you want to get into it? You guys want to jump in? Yes? Tell me right here. Tell me right here. Right there. Start saying yes, yes, yes. All right. I think what we should do is we should probably start with magic, right? I think everyone in here probably, for the most part, is into magic, or a magician or hobbyist, or has some link to magic. And like I said, I think that will naturally weave itself into cardistry as well as playing cards. So, yeah, man, as you know, I love magic. And I've been in magic my whole life. For those of you that don't know, my father is a magician. He still is a magician. He's a doctor by day, but he does magic on the weekends, and close-up magic. And so that's where it started, right? My father, I was born into magic, and like the first 7 years of my life, I hated magic, actually. I wasn't into it. I thought it was I was lame. And I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I don't remember what happened, but somewhere around the age of 7, it changed. And I thought, man, magic's kind of cool, right? Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Keith Brown is in the house. This is incredible. It just keeps going. Just keep coming in. So like I was saying, magic, I was born into it, right? I had no choice, basically. And that's an interesting thing, because, when you think about how people learn magic, you have to go to the magic shop, you have to buy books, and I still did all that. But what I had was kind of like my own Google before Google, right? I had my dad. And so any question I had, I would kind of, instead of typing it into the search engine there, I would just ask Dad. And like Google, he would return all those, organic search results. And it was incredible. And I think that it's a testament to being able to have unfettered access to this kind of information. And so one of the things that I think is really important, and that I've been trying to do for a long time, and I'm certainly going to try to do here on the Instagram platform, is be a center of good information to help people that way. When I had a question, I got an answer. So, if you guys have questions, I don't have all the answers, but I have some answers, and I can certainly help you work through some problems. And so, that's important. I think that's really important. It's one of the many ways that I like to kind of give back, because it's incredible. Oh my God, stop the presses right now. Japan has just showed up. Akira Fuji. Woo! This is, seriously, guys, I'm beyond words. Beyond words. Yes, so, okay. All right. Start asking me some questions about magic, right? I know, what's funny? I had a phone call with Nathan Cranzo about an hour ago. He was kind of, relaxing me, because this is nerve-wracking, man. I have no idea. I've never done this before. So Cranzo and I are talking, and he says, yeah, you should tell them that story about Hit the Road. And, there's literally there's hundreds of stories, but the one he's talking about, all right, this is pretty crazy. The one he's talking about is this. So right before we started filming Hit the Road, I was in Florida, and I was driving from Florida all the way to Texas, where Nathan was living at the time. And then from Texas, we were driving to Los Angeles to pick up Paul Wilson, and then the rest, then we start, right? So I drive it took me about 2 days to get to Nathan. It was long to go from the southern part of Florida all the way up and all the way across and then down a little bit to come get him. We pick him up, and we're driving. Things are cool. We're about a couple of hours outside of Dallas, where I picked him up. Actually, we're, I think, 15 miles east of Lubbock, Texas. I'll never forget this. and we came up upon a crash, like a wreck. Like it was a terrible, terrible accident. And at first we drove past it. Like we were on a small little highway, and it was dark, pitch black at night, and there was a car flipped over with the wheels still spinning, and there was like 2 lanes, and it was in one of the lanes. And we drive past it, and Kranzo kind of look at me, what's going on? And so we stop and we pull back and we go back around and we look, and yeah, this is a horrible accident. And a gentleman had come up the other way, up the hill, crashed, flew out of his car, and was in the ditch. And he was long gone. But it kind of set the tone for Hit the Road, right? I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. And if you watch Hit the Road, and we actually, Nathan and I stayed. We called the cops. The cops showed up. Like, you know, we got ambulances and police on the scene. Like, we didn't just want to leave someone out there. That's horrible. And so we found out what his name was. And if you watch the end of Hit the Road, go get your old copies of Hit the Road. At the end, it actually, it says something nice about him. Like, you know, we kind of say, like, and dedicated to, his name was Jose Rodriguez. And I'll never, ever, ever forget that. And so there is a story you have never heard about Hit the Road, right? All right, start asking me questions. I'm going to start looking. All right, here. Man, I'm just shocked that people are in the house. Wellington Magic Club is here. Ibrahim Jabir is here. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right, start asking me questions, guys. Start asking me questions. All right, what's my favorite double lift? Well, that's an easy one, right? That's the diving board double. But basically, you know what? There's a lot of double lifts, and there's also a lot of situations. And so I think it's really, the question is, what's the best double lift for the best situation, right? So if you're going to ask me that question, you're probably going to have to get more specific. All right, let's see here. Let's see what they're saying here. Okay, do I have any OG Jerry's? Yes, I do. And we'll get to that in a second. I want to stick in the magic world, guys. Let's talk magic questions for a few minutes. Nicholas Byers is asking me, am I working on a Pulp Fiction book? And the answer is yes, of course. I've been working on it for like 20 years. And I know I know you're throwing shit at me. I can feel it. I feel the shade. But the truth is, it is actually very close. It's close. It's the closest it's ever been. Let's put it that way. It's gone through its first full draft, and I'm about 90% finished with the images. And now it's about laying the imagery back in and matching the text to the photos. And it's just a lot of work, guys. It's a lot of work, and I am a one-man brand. And but I promise you, when it is out, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it like I love it. I promise you. Okay, let's see here. Adam Wilbur asking me a great question. Do I have any updates to the Asher Twist, and do I still perform it? Fantastic question. The answer is no updates. And do I still perform it? All the time. Actually, when my wife's friends come over for the first time, you know, work people or whatever, she'll always say, hey, show them the twist. So like, that's always on the requests, you know, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And the Asher Twist. And I'm honored. But it hasn't changed. The technique hasn't changed in a very, very, very long time, since I was 15, basically. And so, it's a classic, right? I mean, it's not a classic yet. It's got to be over 100 years to be a classic. But I think it's on its way to being a classic. Okay. I mean, things are flying past me, guys. So if I miss your question, I apologize. Okay, John Kinney. Awesome. I was waiting for someone to ask me this. Do I have any tips on the first Ace production of Thunderbird Aces? You guys want to talk Thunderbird? Okay. Now, I did think about this. We'll get to that in a second, John. I did think at one point I should probably hold some kind of live stream for just like Thunderbird and for specific moves like the Asher Twist, and kind of have like a workshop-y thing set up. I mean, I'm still using all of these different tools. I haven't tested everything yet. I was gonna say I'm losing my mind here. It's an incredible platform, and I'm still very new to it, so I apologize. But soon you'll see me like saying, all right, who wants to jump into a group chat and talk about the Asher Twist? But right now, real quick, let's talk about Thunderbird. You guys want to see it first? You guys, yeah? Throw some ones in there. Let me see if I'm not moving until I see some ones. Marlon Brando, welcome. Slight in Mind, welcome. Throw me some ones. You guys want to see Thunderbird, and we'll talk a little bit about the first one. All right, I see ones coming. My boy Richie Flo. Go check him out, by the way, if you guys don't know who he is. That's the cool part about Instagram, is I'm being introduced to people I've never met before that are super talented, that are inspiring me to be better. And I love that. I love that. All right, one's coming. Ones are coming. Ones are coming. So here we go. Here we go. You ready? You ready? Boom! Ace number 1. That's ace number 1. There's number 2. There's number 3. And wait for it. Wait for it. You snap your fingers. That's ace number 4. Ooh, I love Thunderbird. All right, so if you do want to talk about that first ace, get out 4 aces. Let's talk for a second. I am not going to expose the entire thing, obviously. But if you want to learn Thunderbird, if you've never seen that before, and you want to learn that, you can go to leeasher.com. I have it for sale. It's the price of a lunch, basically. And you know what? I'll tell you what. Right now, if you do want to buy it, I'll give you guys 15% off. I decided that I was going to mention this, 15% off anything in my store. Just use the coupon code INSTA, INSTA. If you guys want to put that right there, so everyone else who is reading or came in late, make sure to remind them. It's a great way. It's a great way to learn Thunderbird. Learn it from me. You can learn it from crappy YouTube tutorials, which is fine. I'm not against those, but I prefer you learn it the right way from me. So okay, all right. So here we go. Take your 4 aces. Get your 4 aces out. Get those 4 aces out. And here's the thing. You don't want to practice seated, right? That's a bad idea, guys. That's a bad idea for a lot of things, unless you're doing table work. And that's a whole other story. But obviously, Thunderbird is not table work, so we will not be seated when we are practicing. So get up out of your seats. Stand up right now. Yeah, I can see you. Get up. Oh, wait. JB Dumas is here. This is incredible. I am shocked. The whole world, Japan, China, France, America, Canada, they're all here, man. It's amazing. This is awesome. All right, 4 aces. Get your 4 aces out. Stand up. Get up out of your chair. Because again, it's always best to practice standing, especially for a routine like this. And again, I'm not going to tip the entire thing. That's not what I want to do. That's really not what I want to do, okay? I just want to show you the first move. And the first move is in the wrist, as Mr. Erdenay said. I saw that streaming there. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is, everything's out of Tenkai Palm. And if you don't know what Tenkai Palm is, again, go get the manuscript. And I can't teach you that right here, right now. But what I can, like I say, is talk about is that first ace. Okay, so everything's out of Tenkai. It's hidden right here in Tenkai. And obviously, I can see myself, so this is really nice. But if I wasn't in front of the camera, the best way for angles is for me, if I'm doing Tenkai out of my right hand, I'm looking at the person all to my left, right? I'm looking for their furthest shoulder all the way to my left, and I'm playing to that shoulder. And if I do that, then I know that I've got all of my angles covered in front of me. Okay? So a little rub on the hands, and this is what's fun, right? You get to move your hands around. Now, you don't want to do this. That's a flash, right? But you want to be very conscious of your hand block, your wrist blocking, and keeping these cards parallel to the floor. And again, this is the Tenkai Palm, and if you're not familiar with it or if you don't know anything about it, I urge you to go get the manuscript. leeasher.com, Thunderbird, use INSTA, Insta, and we'll throw some up. I'll take 15% off for you. And you get a whole bunch. Anything you want in the cart. You throw everything in your cart, 15% off everything. Okay? So here we go. It's all in the wrist. It's all in the wrist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward. I'm moving this hand forward, my right hand. And it's this corner, which would be, for me, my lower left corner, now becomes right into position right here between my left hand, my middle finger, and my ring finger. So I'm going to put it right here. And as I do this, I move my hand up. Right? So it's here, and then boom. And it's all about lifting this hand up and pushing the hands forward that makes this pop. It's like this incredible barehanded production. And that's the first ace. And that's all I'm going to show you guys. You're going to have to go learn the rest. You're going to have to go learn the rest. Okay? All right. So, more questions. Lee, can I have your babies? Great question. The answer is no. All right. Who's next? Give me some more questions. Hey, man, I'm married. Oh, my God. Here's the thing, guys. I've got magicians. I've got cardists. I've got playing card collectors. Jay McKinistry has just entered the room. Like, it's everyone, all of the segments are represented. This is incredible. Yes, push your hands forward, John, excuse me. Push your hands forward. It's that pop. Okay, I see people screaming, Continental Divide. Yes. I'm working on it. It's in the book, Pulp Friction. It is certainly there. I won't talk about that today. Because there's just too much to talk about. But know that that is coming. That is coming. JB says that I should be pitching Svengali decks. Man, come on. I pitched the Svengali decks last week. We're talking about real sleight of hand today. Yes, the paper empires, dude. People are saying the paper empires, dude. Jay McKinstry paper empires, dude. Yes. We've got, like I said, a lot of playing card collectors in the house. We've got a lot of magicians in the house. A lot of cardists in the house. This is awesome. This is the coolest magic meeting I've been to in a long time, right? Start asking your questions, guys. Start asking your questions. All right. The Congo Pass. JB, you're bringing up really old stuff. I cannot answer that question. I take the fifth. Can I speak French? Not well. Not well at all. You know, I wish I did. I wish I spoke a lot of languages, but I don't. The only language that I maybe possibly might barely speak is English, and I definitely speak the language of magic. And that's what we all speak, and I think that's why we're here. So, do I have any tips on the bottom deal? You know, I'm out of deals these days. You know, it's not that I'm against it, and that's not that I don't think it's a good move. I just, you know, those kinds of things you kind of have to keep up with, and if you don't, you lose it. And I haven't kept up with it. You know, I mean, I got married, we have a dog, I've got a life. Like the days of being single and living, you know, in a room by myself for 15 hours with a deck of cards are over. And I yearn sometimes for those days, but I don't practice the amount that I did back when I was younger. So for bottom deals, no. But the best advice I can give you is to keep practicing because it's going to take a lot of it. Okay, so people are asking me about if I'm going to restock the 3-fly piece. Yes, it's 3-styling. I apologize. It's just that I have to get the chips and the stuff printed, and it's just I'm dealing with a bunch of stuff. So I promise it will happen hopefully before the end of the month, and I'm going to send out an email about it too. So if you're on my mailing list, make sure you're on my mailing list and you'll hear about it. Okay, how many decks do I go through a month? Great question, Lou. And you know what? That's nice. This is a nice transition into playing cards. So, you know, I don't actually go through a lot of decks a month because I know how to treat my cards. You know, I love my playing cards. I treat them with respect and dignity and compassion. And so they last a long time. You know, that I think the better question to ask me is, you know, how many decks do I open in a month? That's probably a better question. And, you know, well, you know, it depends. It depends. But the answer is, it could be a dozen. It could be 2 dozen. You know, people like to send me a lot of decks for me to play with and test. I'm constantly finding decks and playing with them. So, yeah, I mean, it could be any different number on any day, basically. But that's an interesting question. I'll start taking notice, you know, from now on. Ask me that on the next live stream, Lou. Okay, who says what? Old tax stamps. They want to see old tax stamps. I was not prepared. It is not on my desk. Give me 10 seconds. Don't move. I'll answer your how many OG Jerry's do I have while I'm looking for it. You know what? The answer is I have enough OG Jerry's. That's my answer. You know, guys, it's we could have a conversation about Jerry's just on its own. Hey, Rosemary Reed's in the house. Very cool. We could have like a full hour on Jerry's, and maybe one day we'll do that. And you know what? If you stick around for the end, and I'll do this at the end, just at the end though, I have some information about Jerry's Nuggets that nobody else has. And I'm happy to share it with you guys today if you'd like. But you got to stick around to the end though, okay? So tax stamps, we're talking about real quickly about tax stamps on playing cards. And real quick, for those of you that don't know about tax stamps on playing cards, what you probably do know are labels or seals or stickers, right? So this is a sticker, right? See, this is a blue seal sticker, as they say. But before the stickers, they had what looked to be like a stamp, like a label. And you know what? I don't have any in front of me right here. They're over there. But they looked like a stamp. And before that, they were actually tax stamps. The United States government used to tax playing cards. And they did that for a very long time. They actually did that all the way back to the Civil War. And so I think what Erdnase there is asking me about are these stamps that are from, you know, the mid-1800s that were, you know, because playing cards weren't put into a box back then. They were in a wrapper, like a piece of wax paper or just a piece of paper in general. And the way that you kept it closed was with this stamp. And it also showed the government that you paid for it, right? And obviously the box came in and you could find some of these stamps on these boxes. But I have some and I'll show you. And they're really, really cool. So check it out. This one right here, let's see if I can get in closely. This one right here, that's a New York Consolidated Card Company. For those of you who have B decks, this is the company right here. Let's see here. That's a Victor Mauger right there. Victor Mauger and Petrie. That's the American one, and I think that's the British one, the one from London Goodall. And then right there is Card Fabrique. That's a company probably very, very few of you have heard of, unless you're a diehard playing card collector. And then these actually aren't tax stamps. These guys right here. These were just things to keep the paper seal, like the label. Super rare, guys. Super hard to find. And what's interesting is not only playing cards look for this kind of playing card collectors look for this kind of stuff, but so do stamp collectors. So we're kind of always fighting secondary markets, right? But you can go on eBay, you can find some of this, and some of them range from a couple of bucks to thousands and thousands of dollars. So none of these are thousands of dollars, by the way. Okay, great question. Next. Did the Ace serve as a tax stamp early on? Yeah, absolutely. In England. And I think we saw that possibly a little bit. Maybe Jay McKinistry can chime in real quick and give us an answer if we saw any of that in the early Americas. But I think it was basically, it was a European, British thing. What book do I find myself going back to? Are we still talking playing cards? Are we talking Magic? Are we talking Cardistry? So I'll give you an answer for all three. The book that I find myself going back to for playing cards, obviously, is the Hawkman Encyclopedia of Playing Cards, which I do not have in front of me, but it's a wonderful book. And also now I've added Paper Empires to it, because that's a pretty wonderful book too. For Magic, let's see here. You know, I'm always going through the semi-automatic book. Steve Beam is incredible. That guy's always, and there's a whole bunch of them. So I'm always pulling it off the shelf and looking through something. So I would probably classify for that. And then for Cardistry, it's what's his name? Oh, I can't believe I'm blanking right now. It's Flourish Man, Jerry Sitzwowski. It's his encyclopedia of flourishes. And I always find myself kind of being drawn back to that. And that's a fantastic resource. And if you guys don't have that, I think it's probably pretty hard to find now because there was only so many in print. But shout out to Jerry, right? That's a really wonderful, wonderful resource for Cardistry. What kind of dog do I have? His name is Quentin, and he's a big boxer. And he's not here right now. He's downstairs. He's being a suck. I invited him. He didn't want to come. Okay. Bob, welcome, Bob. It's nice to see you here. Have I ever collabed or performed with my dad? Kramer asks me. And the answer is absolutely. Absolutely. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of work with my dad. And it was awesome. It was super awesome. But after that, at age 17, I moved out of the house and I moved to Las Vegas for university. And so, you know, my chances of working with my dad started to become much smaller when I lived thousands of miles away. Since then, I worked an international convention in Calgary with my father. We were both on the bill. That was pretty cool. He was there talking about Magic comics. You guys like Magic comic books? Like, my dad is a Magic comic book freak. And you know what? Maybe one day we'll get him to live stream and talk about Magic comics, because if you like comic books, if you're into any of that, it'll blow your mind, man. And he's actually like the preeminent Magic comic book collector in the world. And so he's got thousands upon thousands of them, and they call him up and they ask him the questions. So they hired him one year for a convention, and he came and he talked about Magic comic books and Magic sets, and then I was booked as well. So it was really cool to share the bill with him. I mean, that's certainly one of my highlights. Great question. Okay, let's see here. Can I talk about Hit the Road? Sure. Hit the Road was great. You know, the original idea was I was living in Paris, and I was hanging out in England a lot with Paul Wilson, and I remember us being on the subway at the time, and me saying to him, how can we get somebody, and it turned out to be Murphy's at the time, but how do we get somebody to pay for our party for 3 weeks, right? And so that's how it started, was trying to figure out how to have a lot of fun and let a sponsor kind of pay for it. And that's what happened, is Murphy stepped in as the sponsor. Very grateful for that. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. It was about, Nathan, if you're still here, you can chime in. I think it's about 3 weeks of filming. And we traveled, I drove from Florida all the way, picked Nathan up in Texas, got to California, picked Paul up, and then we drove all the way up, drove to Vegas, and then drove all the way up to California and Sacramento. It was a lot of work, a lot of driving, a lot of fun though, definitely a lot of fun. And I think you see that when you watch the video. It kind of translates out, right? So, favorite story, there's too many stories to consider a favorite. But I think I had a lot of fun at the Krispy Kreme. If you guys remember the Krispy Kreme scene where Paul's explaining, and I made a mistake because it was an explanation piece, and you know it's very hard to hit an explanation in one take. It's actually near impossible to do that. You got to do it a couple times. You got to get comfortable, and so I was eating Krispy Kremes throughout the entire take, and man, I must have downed 8 or 9 of them, and I get sick after eating about 3 of them. So imagine eating like 8 or 9, right? But it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. Am I based in Florida? People are asking me, am I based in Florida? No. I was originally born in Florida, and my father and my sister and some of my family still live there. But no, I moved from Florida to Las Vegas to go to university. I went to UNLV. Honestly, between me, you, and the fence post guys, I was there to hang out with Alan Ackerman. I was there to hang out with the magic scene. I certainly graduated. I certainly went to school. I was there for casino management. At the time, they didn't have a specific degree for hospitality management. So, for casino management. So it was hospitality management with an emphasis in casino. And it was incredible. It was an incredible time in my life. And I know some of you that are here right now, I met you then. And it was awesome. Like Lonnie Dillon, Ronnie Dillon, some of the guys that are just coming through. It was great. It was a great time of my life. And I certainly look back fondly on there. After Las Vegas, I chased my heart to Paris, France. I lived in Paris, France for a couple of years. That's where I met J.B. Dumas and a bunch of other really great magicians. And then from there, and no, not David Stone. Some of you are thinking, did you meet David Stone when you lived in France? And certainly I saw him there, but I didn't meet him there. I met David when I lived in Las Vegas. Actually, when I worked at the Magic Empire at Caesar's Palace, David showed up, and it was great. It was one of the cooler experiences of meeting a magician was meeting David Stone for the first time. And I know he's probably not on the live stream, but if he was, I would tell that story. But we'll save that for another time when he's on the live stream. All right, so from there, from Paris, I moved back to the States. And during the time that I lived in Paris, though, I was going to a magic camp in Canada called Sorcerer Safari Magic Camp. And that's, I'm sure, again, some of the people that are on the stream right now, they met me there, too, at Sorcerer Safari. So, I started coming to Canada every year, and that's where I actually met my future wife. She was not a camper. I want to be very clear about that. She was not a camper. But that's where I met her, and then, like I say, things got romantic, and now I live here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And this year, 2020, it's all coming into focus, I will be a citizen of Canada. I'll hold a dual citizenship. I'll be an American and a Canadian. So that would be pretty cool, right? Shout out to Paradise Bay Club, who said that. Web operations. I know who you are. That's awesome. A lot of old friends here. This is very special for me, guys, really. Okay, Daniel, thanks for coming. Hong Kong, I know you had to stay up late. I know people that are out, in Europe, that are in Asia. I really appreciate you coming, guys. Thank you so much. But don't leave yet. Those that are still here, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. Okay, all right. So let's start asking me more of these questions. Can I show you some more cool card stuff? Some cool playing card stuff? All right. So I can show you decks, right? I can show you all these cool decks. But honestly, you can see a lot of cool decks on Instagram. I see them all the time. That's partially why I'm here. I want to see all these cool decks. But I want to show you guys stuff that you can't see, right? That's what you're here for. That's why you come to Instagram, for the Lee Asher content, to get the stuff you can't see. So, check this out. We all know that playing cards are printed, right? They're printed off of these big presses, these big Heidelberg presses. And if you go back in history, we start to see different versions of the way they print. So check this out. Some of you know that cards are printed off of plates. And to try to find a printing plate from some of these cards is pretty crazy. So some of the things from my collection, some of the things I hold dearly from my collection are some of my printing plates. So here's the first one. You guys know, are you guys familiar with a B deck? Yeah, of course you guys are. Well, this is from the Sands Casino in Las Vegas, right? This is pretty sweet. I can't tell you where to find these. These are very hard. These are actually never released from it's very hard for these to come out of the factory, especially these kinds of things, because these are proprietary. Jason screaming, these are amazing American history. Yeah, these are part of history right here. I'm holding Americana. And it's super cool. It's like, I love these. I really love these. Okay, so wait. Who's familiar with aviator cards? What's up? Here's the tuck. This is the plate that printed the tuck box for the aviator. right? Super cool, super cool. And these are, I believe these are aluminum. This is what they look like in the back. Kind of neat. If anyone in here knows anything about the printing process, maybe you just want to start talking about, maybe you know a little bit more about these plates. But for now, I'm just going to kind of show them off and grin with you like, hey, check it out. You know, because normally I don't, you know, you have to come here to see these, like, right? Like you have to come to my house to see these. So it's really cool that I can share this with you. Okay, here's the next one. Here's the next one. Very similar to the first one. Again, another B plate. This time, this is from the Holiday Casino. Yes. Real quick, Lou's asking me a question. Was Benjamin Franklin the first American to print playing cards? No, I don't think so, Lou. He was certainly a printer and a stationer. And again, Jay McKinistry could probably, you know, talk about them a little more, but I don't think so. I think there were other earlier manufacturers. And you got to remember, at that time, decks were probably coming in from England, most likely. And we start to see, you know, the early manufacturers start to print playing cards. That's a long time ago, Lou. Real long time ago. Okay. So would there be different plates for each color? And you know what? That's a great question. I would think so. I would think so. I yes, don't hold me to that answer, but yes, I think so. Let me show you a plate. This is a crazy plate, guys. For some of you who have gone into like the United States Playing Card Company website and you start reading some of the interviews, they do an interview with David Blaine and it starts talking about the deck of cards that got David Blaine into Magic. And so if you, oh wait, I have to stop real quick. Jack Maxwell is in the house, one of my oldest friends in Magic. Mwah! Thank you for coming, Jack. This is awesome. Okay, back to it. So David Blaine got into playing cards because of a deck of cards that was a fortune-telling deck. And he talked about the orange box and his memories, but he didn't remember the name of the deck. So we know that if it's a fortune-telling deck made by the United States Playing Card Company in an orange box, it's probably, most likely, the Gypsy Witch deck. And so here is the tuck box for the deck of cards that got David Blaine into Magic. Super cool, right? Yeah. I love this. I love this. This is the kind of stuff you're not going to see elsewhere, guys. And this is the kind of stuff that I love to share. I really do. And like I say, you have to kind of come to my house to see it. But now that I have this, super. That's right. All right. So some more plates. You want some more plates? All right. I got a few more for you. Tell me if you recognize this. That's right. To answer your question, Colin, about were there multiple plates with multiple colors, and my answer is probably yes. This is obviously from a bicycle tuck box, and so this was probably one color from the bicycle tuck box, is my guess. And again, it's the same. It's spun aluminum, some kind. I don't know if it's spun aluminum, but it's aluminum of sorts. And yeah, super cool. All right, one more, and then we're moving on. And these are for my die-hard, hardcore collectors out there. All right, some of you guys are not going to know what I'm talking about, but you will know soon. Obviously, there were many playing card companies at one point, and then the United States Playing Card Company kind of bought them out. And just like we saw Cardamundi do with the United States Playing Card Company very recently. So history is repeating itself. But before things got bought out, there was a company called Willis Russell. And it was a really neat kind of company. He was an interesting guy the more you learn about him. But he put out a bunch of different cards, but the ones that you'll probably know about are the blue ribbon decks. You guys know about the blue ribbons? And I think 8th and Friday just reprinted them. I think the 323s, right? Okay. Well, there was a couple of decks within that line, and one of them was the Urnback. And so here is the plate, a Russell plate of the Urnback. And yeah, man, I would talk about holding history right here. This is pretty historical, right? This is museum quality right here, guys. Super awesome. And so, yeah, and you know what? I actually have a bunch more, but I think that some of the cardists and some of the magicians are kind of like, printing plates, cool, let's move on. So my playing card guys, we're gonna do its own live stream, and yeah, 8th and Friday. That's the spelling. You got it correct. That's correct, Nicholas. And Ethan is actually an old friend, super cool old friend. And I was excited to see that he pays homage to the 323 line. All right. So let's start talking a little more. For those of you who, real quick, my cardists, raise your hand if you're a cardist. All right, I see you out there. Very good. And you know what? I'll talk about cardistry and playing cards real quick. A lot of cardists like the Absolut decks. You know what I'm talking about? Those blue Absolut decks. Yes. So I'll tell you some stories. I'll tell you a couple of things that you didn't know, and I'll show you something that maybe you've never seen. I don't know. We'll find out. So many years ago, Absolut, the vodka company from Sweden, they decided to hold a marketing campaign in the United States. And a guy named Ryan Oakes, I don't know if Ryan Oakes is in the chat room. I'm sure he's on Instagram. He's a magician from New York, old friend, really nice guy. Nice to see you, Ryan, if you're on. Ryan was very clever, and he still is very clever, does very smart marketing. He hooked up with the company that was working with Absolut and convinced them to put on this program across the Americas where different magicians would be hired to go into different regions and perform magic with these Absolut cards, right? And so, and I'll hold these back up for those that are asking. It was these cards made by, and it's called the Absolut deck, and they're made in Sweden. And so I was one of the magicians. Actually, Justin Willman was one of the magicians, Daniel Garcia, Kostya Kimlat, Justin Haynes. The list goes on. It was just like, it was a really cool gig. And so I was given, man, between Justin and I, we had a pallet of these things. Like I had so many of them, I had to throw them out. I know. I'm sorry. I know. So this right here, you've seen these. All the cardists are playing with these. Cool. But have you ever seen different colored ones? Throw some ones in there. Throw some ones on the bottom right there if you want to see. Yes, there were different colored Absolut cards. Not full decks. I want to be very specific. I want to preface by saying not full decks, but there were cards that were different colors. And what they were, excuse me, they were given to us as the magicians to walk around, perform magic, and then give them away as free drink cards. So, here's two of them. This is the red one, and this is the black one, okay? And there's orange, and there's yellow. Yeah, it's super cool, right? You didn't know about that, did you? So here they are. These are drink cards. And what's interesting is so I, as the magician, would perform some magic. I would give you one of these drink cards, and then you would take it to the bartender, and he would exchange it for a free drink. And then the bar would take all the drink cards, and they would send them back to, probably not Absolut, but probably the marketing company in between Absolut, and then they would be paid, right? So here it is, guys, sorry. So they would be paid. And so these are really, really rare because these, you know, are you going to keep this or are you going to get a free drink, right? And so I have some, obviously, and I'm sure probably Justin has some and Danny has some. And like we all had stacks upon stacks of these. And so for my cardists out there, my card collectors, know that there are other colors of the Absolut deck. So there you go. You learned a few things today. You learned a few things. Are you guys having fun? Are you enjoying yourselves? I mean, I'm having a blast. This has been crazy, and I don't want it to end. And we don't have to we don't have to end it right now. We can keep it going if you guys want to keep it going. Throw some ones. Let's start talking. Give me some questions, and we'll keep talking. We'll keep talking. What do you got here? What else you want to talk about? You want to talk? I know there's a little bit of a lag. I understand there's probably about a 60-second lag. So when I say, give me a question, I kind of wait about 60 seconds and then the questions start flowing in. Yeah, this has been great, man. This has been really cool. So I'll just wait. I'll wait. Okay, you know what? While I'm waiting for the questions, can I show you guys something that's near and dear to my heart? I get asked this question all the time. Oh, Arthur Poon, baby! Arthur Poon is in the house. This is awesome. Okay. So I get this question all the time. What's my favorite deck? Or what's the most expensive deck I own? And guys, these are okay questions, right? These are kind of like 1.0-y kind of questions. And there's nothing wrong with that. But let me help you. When you ask someone what their favorite deck is, it's probably best to ask them who their favorite artist is. Or what kind of subcategory do you collect? Do you collect antique? Do you collect vintage? Do you collect modern? Because now you say to me, hey, Lee, what's your favorite antique deck? Or what's your favorite modern deck, right? It's a better question. So the number one question I get asked a lot, other than the Jerry stuff, is, you know, what's the most expensive deck I own? And this raises a really interesting point, okay? And it's a value. So how do we define value? And obviously it's, you know, what someone's willing to pay for it. But we can also define value in another way. in a sentimental way, right? Think about something that was left to you by one of your relatives, like a grandmother or grandfather or something like that. It's priceless. So I want to show you guys a deck of cards that I consider priceless. You could probably buy on eBay for $3, like actual value, $3. But this is the first deck of cards that I owned from Europe. Okay, I keep it in a carrot case because I love it so dearly. But it is from, I'm going to take it out of its carrot case. And if you guys don't know what a carrot case is, I'll talk about that in a second. But what it is it's from the Klutz Book of Magic. Very easy for me to pull the cards out. Do you guys see that? Do you see how I can get my finger in? Isn't that awesome? And we think, and it's a patent, so maybe we can find something earlier, but that's why I say we think. But right now, we believe that Samuel Murray, his name is Samuel J. Murray, was the guy to invent this idea. And he's the guy that created National Playing Card Company. Do you guys have any Aladdin brand playing cards? Right. And so that's the guy that invented those, and that's the guy that was doing this kind of innovation. And I don't want to take the focus away from this deck and this kind of cool thing, right? I want to tell you that when you ask me a question about like how much is, what's the most expensive deck you own, I'm going to say to you a deck like this because of its sentimental value. And it's priceless for me, right? Like this was the deck that turned me onto European cards, which then led for me to print with Fournier, right? Can you put a number on that? Because I can't. So next time you ask someone about the price or value of something, make sure you work in the idea of it could be sentimental too. Okay? Oh, I'm getting an awesome question. What kind of cards would Erdenes have used? Great question. So, we can only go by what's in the book, right? And he doesn't, I don't think he specifically talks about any brands. Maybe someone would come in, I don't know if Shane Cobalt's here, someone who's an expert in Erdenes would talk about that. I don't remember him talking specifically about a brand, but he does very clearly show us what brand of cards he's using, or at least he's using for the drawings. And it's Bs. They're B-backs. And I don't remember the figure number, but it's in the hundreds. 101, 110, 111, somewhere around there. Shows you it's for the ace, the 4-ace trick. And one of the aces, you see it, the ace of spades shows you a beehive. And that's a B deck. That's a B deck for sure. Okay, I'm getting some really good questions. Most valuable performance tip you remember getting from someone you looked up to? Sure, I got a lot of, I think the number one person that I looked up to was my dad. And he gave me, obviously, the best advice. He was the one that told me to be myself and to not shy away from that and not to be scared to be myself and, to do what I love and to chase my bliss. And I'm using Joe Campbell terminology here. He didn't say it like that. But my father really pushed me to do what I loved. And so, if I can inspire you to do more of what you love, you might not have to become a professional at it, but that doesn't mean that you still don't love it, any less than a professional. So my best advice is to do what you love. My second piece of advice is practice. Because, come on, let's face it, man. If it's not looking good, then, we're not doing our jobs properly. So practice, a lot of practice. Okay. Thoughts about the Cartamundi acquisition of USPCC, pros and cons? Great question. And I made a whole video about this. When they first announced a couple of months ago, I saw a lot of the community get very nervous and very scared, basically the fear of the unknown. And so I decided just to kind of turn on my camera. You can even see it's the same background. I was wearing a different shirt, though. I was wearing my Hattori Hanzi shirt. But yeah, I turned on my camera and I talked about why it is a great thing. It's actually a fantastic thing. It's really, other than in the 90s, it's the first time United States Playing Card Company will be owned by a company who cares about playing cards. Because the rest of the time, they've been owned by larger corporate conglomerates. And so I think the real pro of Cartamundi buying United States Playing Card Company is we're getting back to a company who cares. That's the big one. That's the real big one. And I also think that we're about to see some incredible, it's the age of collaboration, right? And so I think we're about to see Cartamundi reaching out to the cardists and the magicians and the collectors and to all of these different groups that weren't necessarily ignored before, but just weren't loud enough for the company to care about. And I don't want to say care. I think they always cared, but it wasn't loud enough for them to actually start wanting to innovate with. And so now I think it is. And I think it's undeniable. And I think that they are absolutely ready and willing to innovate with us. And that's the most exciting thing. Okay. And by the way, if you want to see that video, go to YouTube, type in Lee Asher USPCC or Lee Asher Cardamundi, and I'm pretty sure it'll probably come up first. And it's 23 unedited minutes of me turning on my camera and just talking like the way that I'm talking now. So yeah, there. Oh, Chris Mayhew. Wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to be at some magic convention? What are you doing here? Isn't that the magic convention not fun enough, Chris? No, I'm kidding. I really appreciate you being here, man. And I appreciate anyone who's at magic conventions right now hanging out with me. What else do you guys want to talk about? I can show you some really cool playing cards, some decks that you can only get if you're part of the 52 plus Joker. We could talk about my magic. We could talk about all types of stuff. And guys, earlier we talked about Thunderbird, and if you want to get any like carrot cases, you see me talking about carrot cases, which is a really cool case that'll actually hold some of your cards, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to actually like display your decks. This one is a 52 plus Joker one, which is the Playing Card Collectors Club. But I have a couple of carrot cases on my website if you want some. Because I know magicians out there, you might not be familiar with a carrot case, but if you're a card collector, you know all about Sherman and his carrot cases because they're incredible. But if you go to leeasher.com, you can find all that stuff. And because you're here, because I love you and you support me and I support you, go use INSTA in the coupon area. It'll give you 15% off. The coupon's only available for the next 20 or 48 hours, the weekend basically. So go take advantage of that and get yourself some cool toys. And then you'll be more prepared for the next time we live stream. All right. So let's see here. I'm going through Frank Garcia material, Benny asks me, specifically his card magic. Did I ever meet him? And any advice on his material, further material? I never met Frank Garcia. I met Danny Garcia, but I never met Frank Garcia. He passed away, I believe, in the 80s. I was born, and I was in magic then, but I was still pretty young. And I, too, have all of his books, and I actually have some of the first editions of his books that are kind of like cookbooks, right? They have these spiral bound, and they open up flat so you can kind of read and hold your cards and practice at the same time. Super awesome. I wish books were made more like that. Garcia always had wonderful taste in magic. I don't know how much of it was his, but I do know that he had really good taste in magic. And so a lot of the material you'll find in those books, while not original, are really good. So my best advice is just try to learn as much of that stuff as you can. All right. Card culture. Jay's talking about card culture. It is a magazine for my playing card collectors. And so my guys who are kind of on the fringe of collecting playing cards, there's an organization called 52 Plus Joker. And we are the world's largest playing card collectors organization. And we collect all types of stuff in the playing card world. You don't have to, you don't have to have antique decks. You don't have to have old, cards or Jerry's Nuggets to be part of the group. If you have 2 decks of cards, right? If you have some old illusionist decks, or if you have some old T11 decks or some Dan and Dave's, or hell, if you went into 7-Eleven and you got a couple of 7-Eleven decks, we'll consider you a collector. And you can certainly be part of the club. We're very inclusive. As long as you love playing cards, we want you. And so what Jay is talking about with card culture is if you're a member of the club, every month, like clockwork, a magazine comes out, a digital magazine called Card Culture. And Jay is one of our staff writers. I'm the editor-in-chief. And this month was incredible. We had an incredible article from a guy named Rory Rennick and Jay, obviously. And we had patent articles. And you just got to check it out. It's super, super cool. And I think floating around somewhere on the internet is a free copy. If you just want to go check it out and see what we're talking about. So yeah, that's Card Culture. If you're really into cards, you should definitely join the club and get that so you see that magazine every month. It's your way to celebrate your love for playing cards. All right, big fan from Italy, Alessandro. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate that. Slightly is asking me thick or thin stock. Me, thick, always thick. Go thick or go home, boys. Go thick or go home. Oh, feelings on the YouTube generation of magic. Learning social media versus learning through like downloads and books. Ooh, good question. And I've actually got a pretty detailed answer. You know what? I'm for anything that teaches magic. Okay? If you're gonna learn magic on YouTube, then awesome, fantastic. Because magic shops are going out of business. It's getting harder and harder, to find that kind of stuff. And I think There's so much information out there that if you can find someone who can be kind of a filter mentor to you, that's I mean, what we've been romanticizing about forever, right? And so I think that's a really good thing. There are certain, I'm from the old world. I'm from learning from books and learning from VHS tapes and whatnot. So I don't think that's an either or. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think you can learn from the internet, and you can learn from books, and you can learn from DVDs, if you have a DVD player still. Listen, I go on YouTube all the time, and I learn non-magic related things all the time. Ask yourself that question. Do you find yourself going on YouTube and learning something? Because if you do, then magic's no different, and we shouldn't treat it any differently. I think that where some of the older generation kind of gets caught up is in the crediting situation. And I understand that. A guy works very hard, or a girl works very hard to create something, to give birth to something, and to refine it and to practice it, and then to share it with the world. And then, have 40 people jump on and do tutorials on it because they're looking for likes and subs. I mean, you can kind of understand that can wear real thin on creators, right? So I think there's a balance there. I think that there's something to be, I don't think people are doing it on purpose to hurt the creator. I think that they just want to participate, right? I think that they're big fans. And I think that if creators understand that, I think they'll be less apt to jump on people and yell and scream at them and beat on them. And man, look, we're all just trying to find our way, right? We're all just trying to figure it out. And it's all so new that I don't think anyone has the right or wrong answers. So I'm a big fan of learning online. I'm a big fan of, I think that that's how we're going to teach the next generation of magicians, and it's actually, it's a really wonderful thing. So if you're learning magic on YouTube, don't feel bad about it, but also know that there are other resources. There are books, there are videos. Reach out to people, get mentored, speak to people, learn from, magic is around the world, and we have that opportunity. And the internet kind of brings us together, and it makes it just a closer, a smaller world. So my best advice is, just don't stop what you're doing. Don't be ashamed that you have to learn magic from YouTube. Just know there are other resources, and that you should do everything, not just one thing. Okay. So let's see. Hey, thanks. Some people are saying that I'm very level-headed and positive about it and love it. Yeah, man, you know what? I spent 17 consecutive years going to magic camp, hanging out with the youth of magic. I want to believe at a certain point, I understand it. I get it. I know why people are doing what they're doing. I know why I do what I do. And so it just takes a few minutes to try to understand it instead of yelling at it and screaming at it. And, that's not, hold on now, YouTubers. That's not to say that you should be making tutorials of everyone's stuff because you think it's cool. You got to remember that we all live in a community, right? And it's an ecosystem. And look, there were guys in the community before the internet, like, guys like John Cornelius, who came up with incredible magic. But, people took such advantage that he quit, and then we lost him. And so we have to find the balance, guys. You have to understand that if you're going to do something like that and it's going to upset a creator, then they might not create anymore for us. And then we don't want to do that. And I know that's not why people do it, right? I really know why that's not why people do it. So, I think that you should be conscious that we're all in an ecosystem together and take the time to think about the bigger picture. And, if we're all positive about it, I think we're going to see some fabulous progress. Okay, now I'm getting crazy. Do I mentor people? You know what? I actually, Den's in the house. Hong Kong's back